Hi, this is Adeline again with the final video of our workshop. So if you're like me, you might be thinking, after everything that Justin showed us about reflecting with DIGPA, this seems great, but I don't have a lot of time for reflecting. Teachers are busy. I totally understand. So I want to take a moment to think about some ideas to incorporate reflection with DIGPA into real life when we don't have a lot of time. So one of the ways that we can do this is in a group with colleagues. And if you have the opportunity to organize this formally, that's amazing. If you are the area coordinator for your subject, maybe we can add a couple of minutes for reflection into our area meetings, for example. If you have the opportunity to sit down with a group of teachers from your school, maybe you already have this type of meeting. But when you're talking about some situation that you need to address, think about trying to describe it first and then try to interpret why it's happening. And so sometimes we sit down for a meeting for some other reason, and DIGPA can be really useful for understanding the situation we're talking about. And if you have the chance to organize a meeting with some colleagues, this is a great way to learn together. I really recommend it, if that's possible in your context. But sometimes it's not. Another great way to reflect, Justin and I are always on WhatsApp, DIGPAing different situations. We teach in a lot of different courses, and you can see, often I will send a voice note to my colleague, to Justin, saying, you know what? This thing just happened. Let me describe what happened in the class I just taught. Blah, blah, blah. And I have an interpretation. Do you have another interpretation for me? And then he'll respond with an idea. And so this is something that we can just fit into a really busy day. But I have a colleague I can reflect with on WhatsApp. That helps me a lot to take the time to reflect with DIGPA. And also, it's possible to use DIGPA to reflect individually, independently. For example, taking a few minutes at the end of the day, or when you're on the bus, or when you are having a couple minutes between classes, to write some notes describing what happened and how you interpreted and what you could generalize. Or maybe in your cell phone too, wherever you like to journal or to take notes. Those are some ways that I incorporate DIGPA into my busy life. And I'll add, we can do this in informal settings too. If you're on your commute, maybe you're going through the steps in your head, or maybe on your phone. Maybe when you get home, you can reflect together with a family member. It doesn't have to be a teacher. If you have someone in your family who's a good listener, you can try to describe to them and try to interpret with them what's happening, what's on your mind, in informal ways too. So those are some other ways that I try to incorporate DIGPA into a busy day. The main point is, reflecting with DIGPA doesn't necessarily need to be a formal process. Maybe we can fit it into our lives in informal ways too. But in informal reflection as well, we really benefit from following specific steps, from trying to, okay, I'm describing, okay, now I'm going to start interpreting, now I'm going to start generalizing, okay, now let me plan actions. We benefit from following those steps so that we don't get stuck in a loop of just thinking about the same ideas. Too often when we're stopping to reflect on the bus while we're making dinner, often we get stuck in this loop. Yeah, this is what happened. This was so frustrating. And it goes around and around and we get stuck. So DIGPA is a great way to move forward in your informal reflection as well. So I hope that you'll find ways to incorporate some reflection using DIGPA, using these steps into your life. And so we want to end by sharing some ideas. How do you think you can incorporate reflection into your daily life using DIGPA? Who can you reflect with? It helps a lot to reflect together with someone else. If possible, with colleagues, maybe from your school, maybe from other schools, maybe people you studied with, maybe with friends or family, even if they're not teachers. They might be able to listen well and help you talk through what you're thinking about. And in what moment of your day can you reflect like this? I hope you can fit it in. I know life is so busy as a teacher for me too, but it really helps me to take just a little bit of time where I can find the time to do this kind of reflection. I hope this was useful for you. Thank you so much for joining us in our workshop, Learning from Experience, Reflective Practice for Teachers. Take care.